I'm entirely sure that there's some kind of fiberglass living in my lungs. You know, good to know that when I die, you'll be able to use my congealed blood as an adhesive. If there's not enough seats at the table, it's time to get a bigger table.
That is a very lovely way of putting it. G'day everyone, and welcome back to another Catch Up with Curly. If you're new here, hi, I'm Curly, and on this channel we talk about all things cosplay, costuming and sewing related. And today we have the amazing, the wonderful Binkxy. Hi Binkxy, how are you today?
Wow, I don't think a person has called me Binkxy as like an introduction.
Binkxy slash Diana.
Yeah.
So I know her
according to Kay and Will, I am the Diana.
The Diana.
Shout out to that amazing WCS post.
And of course this, I don't know if you can just see him. This is little
Bjorn.
Bjorn.
Bjorn. This
so if
is
you
the
see
Danny
us
bear.
just, you know, patting little Bjorn, that is why.
And this is Lulu.
And there's just a whole bunch of Pokemon behind Diana. So Diana has been cosplaying for 28 years, which makes her a veteran.
Yeah.
I would say very much a veteran. And also has been an organizer, coordinator extraordinaire of cosplay events for many years, and has done some absolutely amazing stuff. So I thought it would be fun, and so did Diana, to come and have a little bit of an interview, ask some hard-hitting questions.
What a mistake. Mistake we've made.
If you have not checked out the interview that I did with Pro and Con Cosplay, do check that out. That will be up the top in the information cards, and I'll link it down below as well as your socials. So without further ado, are you ready to get cracking?
Yeah.
Alright, hard-hitting questions. Let me just pull them up on my phone. Yes.
I hope that I'm not going to be bruised when it's done.
You are not going to be bruised. Okay. Question number 1. I have 6 questions for you.
Okay.
Question 1. How has cosplay changed from when you started to now?
One of the things that I feel like is really incredible now is the access we have to tutorials, materials. It's a lot more of a household name than it used to be. Like when I first started cosplaying, and I say cosplaying because cosplay tended to be more of a thing that you did at like anime conventions, and now it's a broader thing. You know, costuming is what you were doing at pop culture places.
Okay.
I think initially, and like now costuming and cosplay are almost synonymous with each other. I think they both sort of mean the same thing. Dressing up. It's dressing up for fun. And we have better explanations for the things that we do. We have better access to materials to do the things that we do. We're bleeding into more mainstream things. You know, one of the things that I end up doing a lot of is working with companies who are interested in breaking into the cosplay markets, and the truth is they're already there. They just don't have as much like, we as cosplayers don't always know the official wordings or vernaculars for things, and then vice versa. So like, you know, it's been really impressive seeing and being a part of teams like Janome from Mori Cutlery, Shorebonder, breaking into the cosplay markets, and really saying like, no, we want to be involved in this, you know. So it definitely like having industry members who are actively looking to engage the cosplay community, having a community in general that says like, hey, we are a group of people who do this thing. The tutorials that are out there from folks, patterns, Etsy has changed everybody's lives, you know. Having cosplayers who are building patterns for cosplayers, and then the amount of like inclusion that comes with that. Like my friend Merida Cosplay, she does patterns, and they're scaled, and they are inclusive. Like she goes, I think, from double extra small all the way up to like 3 or 4X.
Wow.
And she's constantly updating those patterns, and when she does a huge update, because she's grading them, she's not just like adding a couple of inches, a couple centimeters, and saying like, there it is. Like she grades them. The fact that we have a tool like what is it, Wonderful Costumer, or what, Marvelous Costume or something. There's a company that does pattern software and that's the one that she
Yes,
uses.
yes.
And J Heart works there. There's cosplayers who work there, and they, you know, Marvelous Creator, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
And you know, it's these fashion industry tools that are now being used for cosplayers.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go online. Like, you have incredible tutorials, like, and you know, truly. But cosplayers
Totally
have
not
YouTube.
paid for and self-plugging.
No, but you know, a lot of folks would be like, oh, if I can't find this pre-made trim, I'll never have the patience, or I don't know how to make ruffles.
Yeah.
You have a tutorial for how to build your own petticoats, build your own ruffles, build out, you know, sleeves. Exactly. And I didn't have that. I had whatever the fabric store had as far as like finding the closest thing to a pattern was, until I went to school for it.
Yeah.
You know, or you had friends, or you had a grandma.
Yeah.
Or an auntie, or
someone who knew how to sew.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then there was the introduction of things like foam, and then Warbler, and now 3D printers.
And the price point of a lot of these things has gone from, you know, some of the first 3D printers were in the thousands. Now you can get a couple. You can get some for $100, $200, and there you go. I mean, the difference between getting a 3D printer that does filament and a 3D printer that does resin, like, and how you adapt them, again, like knowledge and resources. For God's sake, like, I'm entirely sure that there's some kind of fiberglass living in my lungs from attempting to build something with fiberglass, and then getting to a point where I was just like, or I could use these other toxic but less dangerous items like foam and barge, you know. Safety. Oh my god, we have so many cosplayers who are talking about safety when it comes to utilizing your materials. I don't know how much E6000 I've absorbed through my hands over my tenure as a cosplayer, but you know, good to know that when I die, you'll be able to use my congealed blood as an adhesive.
Yeah,
Great.
good times.
Looking forward to it. You're all gonna benefit from my death one day.
Oh, jeez. Okay, so moving now on to question number 2. Let me just pull that one up. Okay. So in my previous conversation with Pro and Con Cosplay, we talked a little bit about racism. Within the community, within cosplay community, within America.
Yes.
Within America. Has racism, from your point of view as an organizer and also as a veteran, has it got better or worse within cosplay in the USA?
I wouldn't say that it's something that's gotten better or worse so much as it's gotten different. Now we have a lot of people who are taking the steps to learn what it is to be an ally, what it is to acknowledge, accept, and grow away from racism, especially if you are not in a marginalized group, or you're, you know, somebody like I think the biggest thing that white folks have come across of late has been like, wait, but I'm not racist. Well, you probably are just a little bit, and that's okay. It's fine, because acknowledging it and moving into the next step of that is acknowledging your privilege, understanding how you can make things better by utilizing your privilege, but then also learning, you know, when to be silent, when to support, when to use your platform to help elevate others, making sure that you're not this is a big problem for me, the loudest and most talkative voice in the room, that you're making space for other folks, but then also that you're not relying on groups that are being oppressed or groups that are being hurt to do all the heavy lifting, to ask for equity and representation. You know, if you're a showrunner, it should be your number one thing should be, how am I serving the members of my community that don't just look like me? You know, how am I representing who I want to be at my show, who I want to feel included, who I want to know that there's a safe space, you know? I was really impressed back a few years back when I was at a show in Utah, and man, I had some predispositions about Utah. I definitely was just like, oh, not sure. And I remember thinking, you know, that this was gonna be like a thing. And I was going to do my best, but I also kind of kept in mind, like, the Mormon church is different from place to place. my dad received a tremendous amount of care and kindness from the Mormon Church, and that there are really good people out there.
Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, yes, the Mormon Church. And that, you know, I could sort of pay some of that forward to folks who very likely were part of that church. And then I went to Utah and I saw one of the most inclusive, most diverse, totally unexpected, lovely conventions. You know, Anime Bonsai was such a joy to go to and be a part of that show. Pannon, who runs the ALA Masquerade, was a founder, I believe, and part of the team. So I got to work with her. I got to work with Garnet Runestar. She was like our handler. And it was an absolutely lovely convention that also looked out for its people.
Yeah.
And that was just across the board. So yes, racism exists. It is prevalent. We are constantly working to dismantle it.
Yep.
But being aware that doing something rather than nothing is important.
Yeah.
And also, like, you're never going to be perfect. Don't take it personally if someone calls you to account for something. Take it as what it's intended, which is a feedback, and also understand, give grace to folks who are out there being hurt. And just be like, you know what, I did my best, let's try something else. Take the feedback as feedback and just, you know, move on and try something else.
Yeah. And I would also add to that, just in general, is have the conversations. Like, I am a firm believer that if you just pretend like it doesn't exist, you're only making it worse.
Yeah, you're still part of the problem.
Yeah, you need to discuss it, you need to be inclusive, and you need to acknowledge that which is in the past, and then how to move forward, because if you do not acknowledge the past, you're deemed to repeat it.
Yep.
So,
and it is a bit of a tightrope walk, because to be fair, like, you're not always going to be perfect when you're trying to be an ally. You fuck up. I'm sorry, screw it.
Oh, this is a G-rated channel.
Sorry.
This is a family channel. It's alright, I'll bleep over it.
Thank you. Yeah, but it's the truth. You're bound to mess up.
Yeah.
Your intent is not carte blanche, but it's better than nothing, for sure. It's better than being complacent. It's better than you know, gaining from a system built on oppression. But you know, when you find folks who are willing to give you their time and their help, listen to them, put out ideas for initiatives, welcome folks into your spaces, ask them for support, but don't demand it. Like, it should never be, for all intents and purposes, it shouldn't be up to the Black community to tell you how to be a better person. You should do that all on your own. You should figure that out for yourself. And it's the same for any group. Like, oh, I don't understand how to interact with trans folks. Treat them like you would any other human being. It's super easy.
Use the pronouns that they would like to be called. Like,
well, it's not even that. Use their pronouns. It's not even a case of liking to be that. That's their pronouns.
That is their pronouns.
Use them. You know, and adjust your adapt your language, adjust your policies. You know, be aware, and it is far easier to do the more you practice it as well. Like, absolutely. I've gone from saying, hey guys, to saying, okay folks, a lot, you know, and it matters. Using inclusive language matters. Putting the folks who mirror back the community is important. I've had folks who've said to me that they really appreciated the work that we've been trying to do by putting, you know, more people of color in judges and guesting positions, and trying to make things more equitable. And you can't, like, one of the things we did at WCS is we tried to have, or at least for WCS USA, we tried to have more judges of color so that people would be inspired to look at the judges panel and be like, oh, I'm going to be judged fairly by a group of my peers. Because it sucks to say, but I've had folks in the past tell me, like, I didn't think that myself as a Black person would be judged fairly. And nobody wants to also be treated as, like, they don't want to be tokenized. Like, you want to win on your merit. And you should be winning on your merit, without a doubt. But you're going to encourage more people to put an attempt out there if they believe that they're going to be judged fairly, or that they're going to eventually get to that place where they're seeing other folks like them who have been kept out of places in these places. That's so incredibly important. And if you don't have a space, build one. Like, what I say a lot to folks, if there's not enough seats at the table, it's time to get a bigger table.
That is a very lovely way of putting it. I like that.
I don't think that that's mine. I'm pretty sure someone else has said that, but whoever
you can claim it.
Thank you.
You can claim it. All right, let's move on to the next question.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I love how passionate you are. It's so cute. All right, being someone who is well traveled with all of your escapades across the world, she hasn't yet come to Australia yet. She will be.
Please invite me to your convention.
Come hell or high water, she will be coming. How are USA conventions and competitions different to other international conventions and competitions?
So it's very strange. Certain ones, the thing that I found that is always baffling to me, a lot of American conventions take place either in a convention center or in a convention center that has a hotel either as part of the location or adjacent to it. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. So it makes it accessible. Also, we have what's called in and out privileges.
Yeah.
So that was always a really interesting thing to me, was when you have places that don't allow you to exit and then return. And I'm like, we're in costumes, bud. Like, we're in costumes, friends. Like,
where was that
at? Japan Expo. I don't know if they still do it, but previously I know they had an in and out. You could only enter once.
Wow.
And then I believe that they tried to do that when they had a Japan Expo out here in the United States, and the entire cosplay community lost its mind. They were just like, well, we will not go then. They were so fussed.
Yeah.
It was super fussy. But yeah, the in and outs I think was a really interesting one. Not having your convention connected to a space
that
where
is
hotels are.
Strange to me.
Yeah,
like so strange coming out here, and both the conventions that we've been a part of in the last 4 weeks that we've done. So came out for Holiday Matsuri, as
and that's in Florida.
That's in Florida.
I'm in Los Angeles, so it's the complete other side of the country.
Yeah. So there was that one, and then Anime Los Angeles, and we shared a room together for Anime Los Angeles, and to have the convention like either in the same location or literally adjacent to was very interesting. I'm not sure I love it, to be honest. But because it especially when the convention is in the hotel, 3 a.m. people still going strong. I'm trying to sleep with jet lag, and that can be
you just need to get yourself some melanin. Please see previous video
to understand the joke. It's
no.
Diana was also in the room when that happened, just off camera and killing herself laughing. So thanks for that. No, and what else is different that you have seen with the conventions? How the competitions are maybe run? Anything else like that?
There's a lot of like one and dones. So like all the judging occurs on a single day, and then goes directly and this is like the high tier craftsmanship and performance judging. So like the Eurocos in London, they which is now I think the Crown Championships. All and this was during Eurocos, so I want to say it was like 27 or 30 or so plus competitors. We started the judging on Saturday morning bright and early, and we finished the judging Saturday night, and then went to dinner with competitors and such to like mingle and like I will say though, the Eurocos and hopefully Crown will continue this legacy. The Eurocos is absolutely stunning as far as craftsmanship and seeing the breadth of craftsmanship across so many countries. Like it is phenomenal. With I think that tends to be the biggest thing, is judging styles are really interesting. I know I had a colleague for the WCS who they would set their because we do now, but we previously didn't have a standardized judging. It would be like judge based on your judging standards, and then we will take the scoring. So I had a colleague who she judged from 0 to 100, 100 being full points for what she believed was the best craft.
Yep.
And then it would be, you know, deductions from there.
Yeah.
So when it got to, you know, the lower craftsmanships, it would get closer to 0.
Yeah.
Whereas I myself tend to judge by, you know, 100 being not only the best in the grouping, but also like the best in terms of ingenuity and presentation and such.
Yeah.
I don't always hit a 100. But all of my other judging tends, like, sometimes I'll have people with the same score. Very rarely do I have anything below, like, realistically, I usually don't have anything below a 40, just simply because
when you're at that level.
When you're at that level, you're never gonna, like, unless you come
and now
in,
I'm like, you judged me in WCS in Japan. What is your score for me?
Your score was like, probably between like 93 and like 97.
I'll take
quite
it.
high.
I'll take it.
Yeah, beautiful costume.
Yeah,
you have beautiful costumes. A bunch of really, it was well fitted. It had phenomenal wig, double pairs of shoes, really well done. Yeah.
Well, thank you.
It scored very highly for me. But that 2019 team also scored very highly for me.
No, they're
Actually, Australia always does quite well. They always bring something really new and innovative. I love it.
Yeah, innovative. Kitchen sink.
The kitchen sink.
All right, moving on to what advice would you give people wanting to become organisers of cosplay events?
Oh God!
or organisations wanting to cater more to cosplayers or cosplaying events?
Okay, so if you're an organization and you want to do cosplay events, you should probably have somebody who understands the cosplay community and also different the different events. If you want to do something domestic versus something international or something, like, you know, I know I've talked with my friend Shema from Twin Cosplay often, and then also a friend of mine in Canada, the organizer of WCS Canada, Shauna. I've talked with them individually about looking into possibly doing, you know, some more North American inclusive events, because, you know, we've got Eurocost and everything, or we've got the ECG, and we have all of these international competitions that focus more on their whole area. And I'm like, well, North America is pretty cool. South America is too. Like, we have some really great cosplayer. Maybe we just did like cosplay across the Americas.
And then invite Australia.
Yeah, well, that's great, because then we'd have Australia to judge it.
I'm okay with that. Not mad about that.
No, but the idea is, like, if you want to, realistically, if you want to do well, if you want to have these events run well, you do have to hire people who understand the cosplay community and can work with you to find the balance between asking for things and actually applying those things that you ask for to managing and taking care of your events. And then also, like, who don't throw a fit, you know. Sometimes you're not going to get everything that you want, but that doesn't mean that you can't just shelve it and ask again the following year. Like, work on justifying, be willing to write out why it is that you want something. So as far as organizations are concerned, like, having somebody who works for you, who gets the community and can also work within the organization structure is really important. Or can spearhead creating an organization structure for your cosplay department. You know, that was something that was very hard for me when I worked at Anime Expo, was, you know, with as many years of backing as I had in the community, when I was very used to being like, may I have this? And when they would be like, why? I'd be like, because I've been here, because I know we need it. And they're like, well, write us a paper to tell us why. And I was like, fine. And I was like, I don't want to do this. But I did, and I got better at it, and it does help. Because it also, you know, it leaves a trail for other folks to follow. So, like, when you get a situation where, like, maybe, like with me, I left the organization. So if you go back, they can go back and look at all my papers, and they can teach someone else to do what I was doing. But the other thing is, if you are a cosplayer who is looking to become an organizer, and this is the hardest part. This is this is the hard truth. We're gonna pull the bandage off. You can't have an ego about anything that's going on. you've got to be in a position where you're gonna see and experience a lot of that stuff that you love, and maybe you're not gonna be able to do it. Like, it's hard for me to take time to cosplay for myself because I am working on my events.
Yeah.
And I miss it. Like, I'll be honest, like, I do miss a lot of this, and I have to carve out time or figure out or plan more. Or
literally make a cosplay in 2 days and they look freaking adorable for the photos.
I mean, it took a couple of days for the wig to arrive, so it counted.
Insert photo here. What I'm talking about. Isn't she so cute? All right. But yeah, so not having an ego. And
yeah, well, and being aware that, like, when you go out to do something, like, you're going to be there to support your organization, the brand that you're basically an ambassador for. If you're a WCS organizer, you have an obligation. Your number one obligation is going to be the integrity of the event and your team. Yeah. Like, those are the two top things.
And you also never stop working.
No, you don't.
So even, and I'm going to say this because I saw it, even at Anime Los Angeles, Diana was going around and introducing herself to people if she wasn't already aware of them, and saying, "Hi, I'm Diana. I am the cosplay, you know, person, or whatever your title is properly.
Director of cosplay at Holiday Matsuri."
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a director of cosplay at Holiday Matsuri and main events. Additionally, I work for the WCS Incorporated.
And basically either gave her card or, like, you know, gave her information to people who she wanted to work with and to get over to Holiday Matsuri. And this was in her own time. Like, she had bought a ticket. We were paying for the hotel. Like, you know,
I didn't buy a ticket. I actually received my ticket in exchange for doing 4 panels.
Oh wow. Yes, I realized that I could have also done that, but no.
That's right. Thank you for paying into honestly, thank you for
okay.
paying into this convention at Anime Los Angeles. It's a phenomenal con.
I ain't gonna complain. Folks. I won best in show.
You did very well.
I did very well.
Good job,
myself.
kid.
Don't get exactly right. Oh no, I'm gonna have to bleep that too. Okay, so
that's a Han Solo quote. How do you bleep that?
I have to. It's a G-rated show. Don't get smug. All right. So
I'll just get.
You are never coming on my channel ever again.
Sorry,
oh my god.
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. Sorry. No, it's all good. I love it. All right. Next question. Since you are a veteran of 28 years of cosplay, I'm just going to keep on mentioning that and let everyone guess how old she is, because she's got porcelain skin and she looks amazing.
I put makeup on before you started this. Like, let me just slather my human skin.
And there's actually, like, clips on the back.
yeah, seriously. Basically, someone come and spray me.
Yeah. Dang. All right. So if you could go back 25 years and give your younger cosplayers self some advice, what would it be?
I don't think I would.
No?
No. I think that a lot of the lessons that I learned and a lot of the hardships that I went through for my own stuff, I think that they have informed who I am nowadays. I think that a lot of the stuff that I pushed myself to do, I remember very, very vividly being like, I will never have another late night again. I will never have an all-nighter again. But I needed to get there myself.
Yeah. I've never done an all-nighter.
Good, because
I started when I was 28, 26.
Oh, so you were old enough to know that sleep was the best thing on earth.
Sleep is amazing. The worst I've done is I've had 3 hours of sleep.
Oh no.
But that was just before we were leaving for WCS and a costume needed to get done.
Yeah, so, but you did still sleep.
Yes.
Like, I have had a couple of those nights where we watched the birds come up.
And birds come up?
Yeah, we watched the birds wake up.
Oh, the birds wake up, okay.
Yeah, it was, you know, and while I don't want to do that anymore, some of the experiences that I had with folks like one of my best friends, one of my best friends, Mike, and his twin, another one of my besties, Patrick, and my friend Space Invader and Katie and Dennis, like these are your ride or die folks, and boy, they prove it when they stay up and watch the birds wake up with you.
Nope.
It's not, and you come up with a lot of jokes and everything, and yeah, it's a great memory that I never want to repeat.
You can miss something but not want to have it in your life anymore.
Yes. Well, I don't miss it. I'm amused at like being so unbelievably sleep deprived that as we drove to the convention center, my friend Spacey and I were screaming like mountain goats at each other. We were just, yeah, oh yeah. We were Taika's mountain goats before Taika got mountain goats.
There you go.
Yeah, it was. So no, I think that depending on the person, you have to have the experience in order to grow, in order to know what you do and don't like.
Yep.
I mean, if anything, I would probably just tell myself, like, stop caring so much about how you look in a photo.
Yeah.
And just enjoy taking a photo.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I would have tried to befriend more folks who I could have gotten photography with, but I don't even think I would do that, because if I want to have a connection with a person, I want to have it because I enjoy that person. Like, I am friends with people who happen to also be phenomenal photographers.
Yeah.
And I enjoy their friendship first.
Yes.
You know, and the photos are secondary to that, and I never want someone to think that I am only their friend for what I can get from them.
Yeah. And that is certainly the case. I know that there are a number of cosplay photographers who definitely have people like that in their lives, and to the cosplay photographers, I just want to say, we see you, we love you, and
thank you,
because you know,
thanks for making time for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially us folks who maybe don't fit inside of the traditionally attractive mold, like
19-year-old, big boobs, tiny waist, big butt.
So that's the ideal, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I mean, just like, you know, thanks for making sure that we have an archive of our work.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
I want to give a shout out to Lionel Lum. Lionel is Usagi-chan Search and Rescue, and Eurobeat King, EBK, man. Those two particularly, and also Kevin Lillard, may he rest in peace. Like, these are folks who are going to conventions and doing convention coverage and taking photos of everybody, because they believe that everybody deserved to have photos of their cosplay. And that was the coverage of the show.
I mean, there is the cosplay is for everyone.
Yes.
You know, statement. I like to say cosplay is for anyone rather than everyone, because I think that's more apt in saying, like, anyone can cosplay if they wish. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I think it's important that, you know, everyone is represented, everyone has a documentation of their work, because it's also fun when you are just starting out and you make your first cosplays and you're like, wow, and then a few years goes by, and then you take another photograph of, you know, your latest build, and then you can compare the two, and you can really see how you've improved and where your crafting has got better. Because sometimes we forget to reward ourselves and go, I did something good, like, here. And that was an interesting concept that I had there, but I've executed it better here.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and additionally, just kind of going back to what I said, like, even saying that, I'm just like, I had friends back in the early 2000s who were so keen on getting photographs that a lot of the times they would miss out on spending time with folks at the convention. And I definitely spent time with my people. Like, I look back at my wedding party, and my wedding party is all cosplayers. All cosplayers, with the exception of one person, but she was the one who taught me how to sew. So I'm just like she is the reason why I had a lot of cosplays in the first place, because she was sewing with me. So yeah, I just, cosplay has been such a huge part of my life, whether it was an up or a down. And yeah, I really don't think that I would go back and be like, you know, change this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, fair. All right. And last question.
Oh God, there's so much.
There's one more. I told you, I was like, there's going to be 5 questions. Like, it's like 6. Where do you see cosplaying progressing to in 10 to 20 years? I didn't give it the heads up of what these questions were, so.
So I will say for what I hope it's heading for, is a community of equity and inclusion and diversity. I hope that people look at our community and go, this is how we should be treating each other. I think that there is a lot of really wonderful stuff that has stemmed out of cosplay. I think anytime we have a strong dynamic shift in folks saying like, hey, no more, this isn't okay, as it pertains to like racism or inclusion or the LGBTQIA plus community, just things in general that like the expansion and ever-growing ideas of what constitutes human rights. I want people to be able to look at cosplay and go, this is a good example of inclusion and diversity and human rights. Because
it would be nice to be able to hold it as essentially a pinnacle of, you know, this is how humans should treat each other. So and considering that there are folks who have found their people, have found their home, look out for each other. You know, I think that the pendulum swings pretty far both ways. Like, it's very interesting having a bunch of like baby queers be like push back against the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then like us old folks being like, well, no, we can all look at this and go like, you know what, you're right. No, this is language and times that have adapted since, but there was nothing like this back in the day. So this is like, you know, these are the archives. We don't just burn down the library because we don't like what's in it. We can look at it with the, you know, with the understanding that things were not great. Remember, discuss, don't dismiss. Like, yes. You can have a discussion about something without, and talk about like why we have grown since then, and still acknowledge that we didn't have all of this beforehand. You know, I think we were talking a while back about changing the way that you describe cosplayers, so that you're not focusing on the characteristic of the person, like saying, oh, this is a black Sailor Moon. No, it's Sailor Moon. Well, this is a plus size Sailor Moon. There's a lot of ways that you can adapt your language, and I'm hoping that the cosplay community will continue to push for folks to be better at how they act, how they treat each other, the ever-growing like how you use your language, just being a safer space. I know that there's a lot of cosplayers who found gender euphoria by virtue of being able to be gender fluid in their cosplays. I think that that's incredibly important. But yeah, I think I hope that we move into a space where folks can have good, equitable conversations, and we become more aware of each other's unique experiences. I do very strongly feel like we need to prioritize some of the experiences of others before we get, you know, like, we don't need to talk about my experience as a white looking woman as much as we need to talk about other folks' experiences, understandably so. But I'm hoping that we get to that point where everyone feels so represented, that everybody can equally and equitably speak about their experiences, so we can have a good community going forward. Like, I know we're never going to be perfect, but we can get better. Sorry, Diana. Yeah, we can try to just be better to each other. So we are now back because battery died. Had to recharge it for a couple of minutes, and Diana was midway through saying, be kind to baby cosplayers. Because honestly, like, especially if you've been in this community for a while, your words are going to carry some weight, your actions are going to carry weight. This is an opportunity for you to encourage folks to join your community, so, you know, be kind to them. Not everybody's going to be perfect out the gate, except Kira Lee, who is practically perfect in every way. It's true. Like, don't don't say false things to newbies, you know, if it's not true, but also don't be mean.
Yeah, absolutely don't be mean. You're being mean to somebody is not going to encourage them to get better.
No.
It doesn't work like that. It's just going to be stressful and you're going to look like a butt. You don't have to bleep that one.
No, it's fine. Yeah, we can say that.
Because you know what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And I edited myself.
I know, well done.
I'm learning. But yeah, to be a good ambassador for you know, for cosplay, especially if you're in any, if you're in a space where you're like me, where you do organization as well as, you know, competing and stuff like that, but or judging, any kind of judging, like we can't a lot of the times we don't have as many awards as we'd like, to be fair. So you know, we're trying to do the best that we can to acknowledge as many people as we can, and because a lot of the times, you know, something does take we feel like it deserves an acknowledgement. You know, and I've had situations where like I've had stuff where I've given a judge's award and I've had somebody be like, what does this even mean? And I'm just like, well, meant I liked your stuff and I thought it was worth acknowledging, and I only had 3 awards to give away. So I made this up because I thought you were too good not to get something.
And it also means that if you have a judge's award or an honorable mention, generally speaking, if you love that cosplay, or maybe it's not actually finished and it just needs to be finished, it means you can re-enter that cosplay into a bigger competition or a different competition later on. Yeah,
it gives you a chance to work on something. It gives cosplayers a chance to upgrade or like refit. A lot of the costumes that I've noticed of late, I will sit and adjust them for time after I do like a practice run, and then I'll do a lot of like small adjustments. It's very rare that unless it's for competition, because then you know the adjustment is part of the competition process. But it's very rare that I don't do like a run through of something. And then from there go like, okay, now I know what I need to do. Like Marie Antoinette costume was one where I was like, it's got stays built in, and then I was like, oh no, this was not cute. Girl, you need to wear some stays with this because it's like this isn't enough. But yeah, I mean, just and don't forget to like message the convention. Make sure that the rules state that you can rewear something provided that it hasn't won like a major award. But also remember, like, judges can pick whoever they want. If they're picking you, it's because you've exhibited something that they find to be worth merit. You know, and while I don't necessarily think that it's as comparable as far as like the reuse of your costume as, you know, a craftsmanship, a performance, well, a craftsmanship or like a best in show or like a runner-up or something. Again, those things, like being in a competition is at the whim of the competition organizer.
It's very subjective.
But I do think that it's nice to have someone acknowledge your work. You know, I've received judges awards. I appreciate them. But that being said, resources. Yeah? If you are a baby cosplayer and you are looking to expand, perhaps consider places like the cosplay competition support
on Facebook
group, which is run by Pro and Con. If you are female or female presenting or trans or a member of more marginalized groups, She Prop, run by Down in Creative Studios, is absolutely phenomenal. Look at cosplayers who you admire.
Message them.
Message them.
What's the worst thing that's going to happen? They're just not going to respond. You know, I know that I try to respond to as many messages as possible. You know, when I get lovely messages from you all, the only ones that I tend to be quite vague on is if someone just be like, I want to make this. How do I do it? I'm not going to give you the roadmap, sweetie. You know,
just be aware that like that's a little hard. There's a lot of resources now. I mean, it's amazing what the internet has. You can learn how to do anything. You really can. But like, you know,
we are humans as well, and we have jobs.
Yeah. There's also phenomenal Discords. Hoku Props has a great Discord. I know Miss Vane just opened a Discord.
Yeah.
There's so many places and people out there who are sharing knowledge and creating communities that you can be a part of. To learn from, and a lot of makers that are working with companies. Like I know HDC Fabrication works with Surebonder and does tutorials. Janome has a phenomenal maker series that they do with cosplayers as well as with sewists.
I will also say that Mood Fabrics have amazing resources of free patterns.
Yes.
Which is wonderful.
Yeah.
There's a bit of finessing with some of the patterns.
But that's, I feel like that would be the same with any commercial patterns.
It's true.
McCall's and Simplicity and Butterick and, you know, even like Yaya's patterns were initially made like for her body. But that's the thing is like the more that you work with something, the better you're going to get at adapting it to your body. Yeah. So, you know, like you're going to come across a lot of this just in your tools in general. Like make the tool work for you. Yeah. But yeah, go and sew and cosplay and craft.
All right.
And
well,
that
is all time. That is all time. That is all time.
Yes.
That is all we have time
for.
The Diana
is all time.
Binkxy. Thank you so much for being part of this wonderful interview. Thank you for agreeing to do this in your wonderful house that I have been living in for the last week.
This is my home. These are my Pokemon.
These are all of her Pokemon, and they're lovely.
I think I brought these out specifically so that I could show them to you and Sarah.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. I'll see you all in the next one, and thank you again so much for being a part of this, Diana.
You're very welcome.
/Binkxy!
Yeah, that's the only place you can really find me is Instagram @Binkxy.
Yeah. All right. Bye!